All right, so this is going to be about how many hours wedding DJs work in preparation before the gig and actual hours worked during the gig. So it's a lot more than you would probably suspect. So we'll dive right into it. Number one, my first line item: time spent finding a lead. That means going to expos. I don't care if you're plowing for them on Facebook or wherever it is. If you've joined one of the services like Wedding Wire, just time spent searching for an actual lead. We're going to book that at about 4 hours. That's how much I spend at one expo. So I'm being very modest and liberal with my times here. So 4 hours there looking for leads. And then when you actually find the lead, there's an intro call. An intro call when you find that lead and they say, yeah, we're interested in hearing from you. There's an email leading up to that. So you'll spend about 30 minutes emailing folks, texting folks. These are potential leads I'm talking that you may have gotten from a bridal show, that you may have gotten referred from somebody. You're going to spend a lot of time sending a lot of emails out. So we're booking about 30 minutes, and that's just for them to give you a call back or a text back to say, yeah, we want to hear about your service. All right. So now they say, yeah, we want to hear about your service. There's an initial consultation. So you're going to spend about an hour on the consultation with these folks, telling them all about your products, your services, your pricing, all that good stuff. Then let's say they finally book you. Then you got to do a site visit out to the venue that they chose. Why? Because you want to see the lay of the land. You want to see outlets. You want to see where you're going to be set up at. You want to just get familiar with where the place is. Where's the loading dock? Is it on the south end of the building? Is it on the north end? Where it is? How long they let you? All that good stuff. So we're going to calculate about 2 hours. That's going to count time driving to the place, time driving home, and actually viewing the place. So after that, there's always follow-up calls and emails to discuss the musical selection, what type of genre they want, what they're going to have for the first dance. A lot of times, they leave it up to the DJ. And then a lot of times, they're very selective on what they want. So you're going to spend some time talking to them. I send out what I call a wedding party planning sheet, and they don't always fill that out completely. Or if they fill it out completely, they ignore the fact that I've asked them to phonetically spell names so that I'm up on the pronunciations. I always find myself calling back, saying, you didn't put anything in for this, or how's this name pronounced, things like that. So that's the follow-up call, email calls after they after you book them. There is a final consultation. You want to go through everything from top to bottom. What time is everyone getting there in the morning? What time do you get there to set up? How much time is allotted to set up? Where you're going to be set up at? Bridal party introduction, grand introduction, songs to be played, all that stuff. Cake cutting, bouquet toss. You go through the whole thing with them. So that's going to be another hour on the consultation, the final consultation. After that, there's prep before the wedding. All right, so you got those items, the final consultation. So the total prep time before the wedding, I've got actually at 17 hours, 30 minutes. Then there's the actual day of. Sometimes they book you just for the reception. That's going to be like a 4 to 5 hour thing. And sometimes they want you for the whole day, the ceremony, the cocktail hour, and the reception. So you could be working from 6 to 10 hours. Remember, always plan for an hour before the gig to set up and an hour roughly to, tear your equipment down. So if that's 6 to 10 hours, you also want to count afterwards. You're going to send them a follow-up email to thank them and ask for referrals and all that. You book on another 10 minutes for that. So the grand total, 23 hours and a half, 23.5 hours planned time, total time. And I'm being liberal with these times for planning prior to the event as well as DJing the actual event. So it's going to be 23 and a half to 27 and a half hours. So rounded up, that's 28 hours. Now, if you take that 28 hours of total prep time and performance time and multiply by $100 an hour, it's $2,800. Now, for some regions that's a little bit high, and for some regions that's a little bit low. But you are getting paid for your time, not just the performance time, but all the prep time that went into it. Not to mention the education and training and the cost of gear, all those things you factor into how much you charge. Now use this as a guide. So if you're way lower than that, then maybe you want to bump your prices up a little bit. And if you're a lot higher than that, maybe you want to bump some things down. But this is just a quick vid to go through some of the things that most guys don't consider. Get paid for your time. Time is money. You put a lot of hours in. It's just not the 4 to 5 hours that you're spending at that gig. It's a lot that goes in before. Oh, and practice time. We didn't even talk about practice leading up to the gig. I didn't mention programming, how many hours you spend programming music. Some guys, program whole playlists for each part of the evening, and some guys just do it on the fly. I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't recommend it. But I think 28 hours is modest, and certainly multiplied by $100 an hour is modest. Anything less than if you're charging anything less for a big wedding, then you got to say to yourself, when I factor in all the hours, I only maybe made $25 an hour or $30 an hour or whatever it factors out to be. But I know a lot of guys can't get $2,800 in their market, their area for a wedding. But just know that you're making way less than $100 an hour. If you put in all the time that I talked about and you don't get $2,800, you're getting less than $100 an hour. No photographer is going to take less than $100 an hour. No catering facility is going to take less than $100 per hour, etc. Everyone's getting big numbers, and you should be getting paid your worth. Now, if you're someone new starting out, consider that. If you're OG like myself, you consider this also. But it's just food for thought. Do whatever you want to do. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. DJ Justice for J Muse Entertainment. I'll see you guys on the next vid.